Assalamu alaikum. This is lecture 28 of web design and development, and in this lecture I'm going to discuss about writing unit testing in web applications. So here are the lecture contents. In this lecture I will start with the discussion of web testing and HTTP based tests. So two common mechanisms that are used in every testing application is making the assertion statements or creating the fake objects, and finally the browser test will be discussed. PHP unit testing mocking components is used for web testing. So Faker is a component that is used to create fake data for testing, and PHP specs provide the incredible number of testing options such as crawling web URIs, submitting automated forms, checking HTTP status codes, and validating and asserting against the specified JSON. Laravel also provides a front-end robust testing framework called Dusk. The primary tests are unit test, feature test, application test, and regression test. Unit test the target small and isolated components such as a class or a method. Feature test set of working of individual units together with and how units pass messages to each other. Application tests for functions or acceptance tests for entire behavior of the applications like HTTP calls. Regression tests are closer to the application test but are more specific tests for actual behaviors of the users. Tests in Laravel live in the test folder, which is have two main files and two subfolders. The main file is testcase.php, and it is the base root test, and all tests will extend uh, this file. The next file is create application PHP file, and it is a trait. It allows any class to boot application for testing. The next is the features folder. This folder contains the test that covers the interaction between multiple units. The other folder is units. This folder contains the tests that are intended only for one unit. So each folder have a single file with a single test case ready to be run. Unit testing will likely to be contain assertions. To run the test, you have to move to the directory called vendor/bin and run php unit app-path/tests. So you can use a number of testing traits that can help you to build or test a number of applications. So one of the common testing trait is refresh database, and this and the other database traits uh, ensure that the database tables are correctly migrated. It wraps the database for each test rollback after the tests are done. This effect is not at the start of the effect is run at the start of testing. The next trait is without middleware. It will disable all the middleware for any class. For disabling middleware, the single method call this without middleware at the top of each test. The database migration trait will run migrations fresh before each test for applying to single data migration in the setup of method before every test. The database transactions trait expects migrations before test, returns the database in the original form as before the tests. However, the unit tests can mostly run without traits, like make method can be used instead of the create method, so the object is created and evaluated in the memory without hitting the database. So for example, in this case, we have a new variable called the square, and we have specified the values and then asserted some condition without actually using the database. So if a test touches the database, it is more likely consisting of one or more than one unit, therefore called the feature test. So thus, in this case we have used the refresh database uh, trait, and we have tested two packages with the popularity property of each. HTTP testing allows to make simple HTTP requests and then make assertions about the responses. Common methods for basic request response testing are as this. So the first one is this get and then specifying the universal resource indicator along with headers and optional data parameters is used with the post, put, patch and delete methods. So you can do all sort of HTTP tests with the JSON API. All you can do is to append the JSON keyword with each of the HTTP request methods such as get, post, put. The rest of mechanism is same as previous. There are more than 40 assertions for the response. Few commons are as provided here. So first of all is the assert status, which checks the response status code is equal to the provided status. For example, in this case, if the user is unauthorized, you have to check that the assert status is 401. There is response assert C and response assert don't see assert that the response contains the provided text or does not contain the provided text. Similarly, the assert JSON method is used that is assert the past array is represented in the third return JSON. Similarly, assert cookie asserts that the response contains a cookie with the name and option is checks for its value. Assert cookie expired asserts that the response contains a cookie with the name and it whether that it is expired. Assert cookie not expired does the opposite of the assert cookie expired. Assert redirect asserts that the requested route returns a redirect to a given URI. You can also use the authenticating responses, and it is the most common way to test application with authentication and authorization. Most of time it is done using the acting as a chaining uh, using the acting as chaining method. So in the first test case, test guest user is created and the response is checked against this uh, guest user to get a specific page, and if that page is denied from the guest account, we can check that the unauthorized access status is returned. Similarly, a member is created and same alert statement is checked against the user, and if the user is unauthorized, the 401 will be alert as a result return. The public function is again used in the next example, and here we have a user which is admin, and in this case we check that it is allowed to view the statistics page and we return with the assert OK statement. Database assertions are used to check whether the application works with the endpoints accurately. Common assertions are assert database have and assert database missing. In the assert database have, you specify a package's URL and the name of a package. And if this database has this point, it will pass, otherwise it will fail. So often in testing, you pause the true function and write test about the changes in the system by faking it. This can be achieved by making facades using the fake method. So there are a number of fakes that can be used in unit and application testing. One, some of the common ones are discussed here. So event fake is a common example. Some events generates output to the other parts of the application, hence faked to capture the event's firing. Similarly, bus and queue fakes are used. The bus and queue fakes provide how Laravel dispatches job and push elements to the queue respectively. Mail fakes are used to mail facades to send fake emails. Similarly, fake notifications are generated using the notification fakes, and storage fakes provide facade to test the file uploads and other storage related functions. One of the fascinating aspects about the browser testing or HTTP testing is automating the test, and it allows you to interact with the document object model of the pages, such as automated clicking buttons, filling automated forms, and interacting with the JavaScript. So you can use a tool called Dusk for all these automated testing. Tusk is a Laravel tool and that provides an easy way to write Selenium style directions for Chrome driver based browsers. With the Dusk, actual browser spins your application having complex interaction with the JavaScript. So it is used in application slash regression testing and it works better than Selenium. So this is a common way to create a browser test. In this case, you have specified a browse method and you visited a register email, a register URL, and you have provided an email, password, and press the sign up button and check that the URL is located to dashboard. So that concludes the little information about the PHP Laravel application testing. So if you are interested more about the topic, you can read chapter 12 of the recommended book. Thank you very much.